In Vrindavan, there are so many people chanting Radhe Radhe and so many things, right? But he's saying there, staying there, he's saying this, that knowing Sambandha, you fight with in your life, struggle for existence. Those say to Vasiya, they will stay and remain. Otherwise, other will all die. Ara saba mare. Without knowing Sambandha, one will go on so many other paths. Anapathe dhai. They'll run on all other paths. But they will not attain Krishna Priti nahi mile vritha janmaja. They will not attain Krishna Prem and their birth will become worthless. Vritha. Then there is third stanza which is saying that Krishna se sambandha adi bhalo kare buja. Buja means what? Understand, grasp, buja. Bhalo kare buja. No, properly understand your relationship with Krishna and to maintain that relationship. While maintaining that relationship, you fight with Maya. Juj means fight with Maya. Don't fight with other people or devotees. Fight with Maya. By knowing properly Sambandha. Taha chadi hoy eva jnana karma vid. Giving up that Sambandha, there were many, many Chaivalaras, Veeras, Veer means Chaivalaras, who are on the path of Jnana and Karma. But they all have become asthir. They never attained any moksha and they became asthir. So it's a very important. I was very touched by this song I read recently, where Prabhupada is writing this in staying in Vrindavan. So it's very important to have proper understanding of Sambandha. And we'll see today, Atri Muni, he is also not clear about who is the Supreme Lord. So Sambandha Gyan. So let us begin with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Pravrajanta apeta krityam dvaipayano virahakatar ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo vinedus tam sarva bhutaridayam manimanatosmi yasyanubhavam akhila shruti saramekam adhyatma deepa atitir shatam tamondham samsarina karunaya purana guhyam tam vyasa sun upayami gurum muninam Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishthiki krishnaya vasudevaya devaki nandanaya cha nandagopa kumaraya गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजाता सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्वशे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कम करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम् अस्माकं विगतविक्लवैश्वरस्य सर्वात्मना महिगृणामि यथा मनीषौ नीचो जयो गुणविसर्ग अनुप्रविष्ट भूयेत हि पुमाननुवर्णितेन। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So, first of all, I would like to beg forgiveness from you for disappointing you by being here because you must be, and I was also expecting here glorious presence of His Grace Revtipati Prabhu, but the auspicious ad hoc has come because of the initiations which are happening. So, because of that, you have to tolerate for few days. So, we are going to do some needful based on whatever is available. So, yesterday afternoon, I was asking Revtipati Prabhu what is to be done. So, we checked with Madhav Seva Prabhu also, but he also went out today in the morning. So, he will come back maybe tomorrow or day after. So, we'll do the needful for this particular unit, whatever is possible from our side. And so, with that background, so let us begin. So, we are discussing fourth canto, beginning. So, from 4.1 to 7. So, it's a very big unit in one sense. So, let us see how much can be done. But so, we can begin with the first chapter today with whatever I could prepare, with whatever time was there. So, let us try to discuss something about Srimad Bhagavatam from this fourth canto. So, this particular, so I'm just, okay. I have to join some Zoom meeting or something? No. Okay, I have not joined anything here. Can you do that here on this link or whatever? Anyone is there online or? Oh, 1 minute. Here, BV to no, to not 2021. Na? No, that is Hindi here. Okay, tell 82 7081 011 0. Two times. Two times. Okay. And so there are some devotees. So here, yeah. So now we are beginning with this fourth canto. Yeah. Here echo is coming, so I have to mute myself. Leave computer audio or mute. Both are mute only here. Ah, here it's coming to me on. Should I remove this? Leave computer audio. Should I do that? Hare Krishna. Leave computer audio if we do that.
Bro, just reduce your laptop volume.
Laptop volume should be reduced. He said. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Ah, ah. Yes. Yes. So we are beginning fourth canto. So of course, His Holiness Bhakti Dhir Damodar Maharaj already took Dhruva Maharaj section, but today, because we gave him option, so he chose that, and it was very good that he chose that. Right? All of us could hear. So that's why this section is remaining. So we'll begin with that, and then we'll go to some broad overview of Srimad Bhagavatam, which Prabhupada also gives in his very first purport in very brief. So we'll see, but let us see what is there in the chapter 1 yeah, of the fourth canto. And then, as I told you, we will go to the overview for first maybe 15, 20. Then go to the chapter. So, essence of chapter 1, what is given in this? So, tatra tu prathame adhyaye akuti adi trikanyaye. In this first adhyay, akuti adi. So, akuti, devahuti and prasuti. These three kanyas, three kanyaye. Varnayate. Their description means their genealogical line. And in that, there are two special personalities, Yajna and Datta or Dattatreya, which is form of Sri Narayana Ja, Sat Katha. So in first chapter, the descendants of three daughters of head daughters, I think there is some mistake here, headed by Akuti, and the stories of Yajna and Dattatreya, born of Narayana, are described. Right? So let us go into the first verse and then we'll go to the overview. Okay, this I have to put visible now. I removed this. Here now it's not coming. There it's coming. हाँ जूम में आ गया, इधर क्यों नहीं आ रहा? ठीक है, ये आ गया. No, it will come. 4.1 is able to see. Hare Krishna. Project this one, your Zoom. Okay. So genealogical table of the daughters of Manu. That is the first chapter in the fourth canto, right? So the first verse goes like this: Maitreya Vacha Manostu Shatarupayam Tistra Kanyascha Jadnire Akutis Devahutischa Prasutir iti Vishrutaha. Please read the translation. Anyone has mic? Or maybe I'll read. Okay, you have.
Sri Maitreya said, Swambhu Manu became 3 daughters in his wife Satrupa, and their names were Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti.
Yeah. So Swambhu Manu begot 3 daughters in his wife Shatrupa, and their names were Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. So actually earlier also he has told this in 3.12, but now again he is mentioning it because of the subject matter. Now he is going to describe this, right? So if you see, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Prabhupada both have given the summary of the entire canto and the subject matter. So interestingly, here Prabhupada does his Mangalacharan here. So, and it's very touching to read that Mangalacharan, where Srila Prabhupada is offering respects to his Guru Maharaj, that saying, by his mercy, I am writing this Herculean task of writing commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. And we have completed 3 cantos, right? So actually third canto was very big. 30, I think around how many chapters? 33 or 31? 33 chapters, right? So I saw in second canto also Prabhupada writes like that in the beginning. And now in the fourth canto he's writing. So it's very inspiring to see the dependence of Srila Prabhupada on what he's doing and under instruction he's doing, right? So if you see, he is offering obeisances to entire parampara, beginning from his spiritual master. He is saying that by whose order I am engaged in this Herculean task of writing commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam as the Bhakti Vedanta purports. So I think this word is coming, I don't know, maybe the first time here. It might have come earlier, but Prabhupada himself is writing that these are Bhakti Vedanta purport. By his grace, we have finished 3 cantos and just began 4th canto. And then he goes on to offer obeisances to 6 Goswamis, and then Radha Krishna and associates in Vrindavan. That goes to show. Now, earlier first canto, he has written in Vrindavan, but now he is in West. Still, you can see that his prayers are there in Vrindavan Dham. His heart is there in Vrindavan. So he is offering obeisances to 6 Goswamis and Radha Krishna, the spiritual couple who enjoy eternally in Vrindavan with their cowherd boys and damsels in Brajbhumi. Let us also offer our respectful obeisances to all the devotees and eternal servitors of the Supreme Lord. So, we may think that why Prabhupada is writing this. But actually, this is the hallmark of a genuine devotee, that he is completely dependent on Krishna. So, the dependency on Krishna is the real depth of Krishna consciousness. Once, I think Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu was asked, he always says, no, go deeper, deeper. So one devotee asked in Kunj Bihari temple, that what is meaning of going deeper in Krishna consciousness? So he answered in one word that every moment you are taking, depending on Krishna's mercy. So although Prabhupada has done so much by now, right? Maybe this is written in which year? Anyone knows? 3rd canto, 4th canto? Maybe after 2 years or so. So some things have already manifested, but still he is completely dependent and remembering and looking for grace of his spiritual master. So actually, dependence is an extremely important thing. As we make progress in Krishna consciousness, we may become skilled, we may become expert, we may become famous for many, many things of this world, and many people will appreciate. But if dependence is not there, then it is superficial. So His Holiness Haldar Swami Maharaj was saying that essence of duplicity is doership. And doership leads to stealing of quality of independence from the Supreme Lord. You are stealing something from Supreme Lord. What is that? The quality of independence which he only possesses. So you steal the quality of Supreme Lord, then what Maya will do? Maya becomes your opponent. So this Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan writes in his Bhagavad Gita commentary. That's how only a person who is Muda is having this feeling of doership. Prakrute kriyamanani gune karmani sarvash. That context only is writing. So that's why dependence and cultivating dependence is extremely important, and experiencing the dependence on the Supreme Lord and devotees and spiritual master. So that's what we see of here Srila Prabhupada is right away expressing, and in similar way as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who does at the beginning of every canto, remembering his spiritual master. And secondly, Prabhupada is showing that the highest aspiration and seeking of blessing is from Vrindavan and Vrajvasis. So apart from Radha Krishna, he is begging Vrajvasis also, Gopas, Gopis, and all the other eternal servitors of the Supreme Lord. So that goes to show this thing. The goal which Prabhupada is seeking for, and goal which he wants also us to seek. Like Mangalacharan has all the aspects of Ashirwad. What is the three things? Vastu Nirdesh, Ashirwad, and what is the? Namaskar. Yeah. So Namaskar is there. Ashirwad is there in hidden way, which we discussed, that he is directing us to Vrindavan. Okay. And Vastu Nirdesh. That is also there. Right. So that's how he begins very wonderfully. And then, yeah, please read this summary of 4th canto.
In this 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 31 chapters, and all the chapters describe the secondary creation by Brahma and Manus. The Supreme Lord himself does the real creation by agitating his material energy, and then by his order, Brahma, the first living creature in the universe, attempts to create the different planetary systems and their inhabitants, expanding the population through his progeny. Like Manu and other progenitor of living entities who work perpetually under the order of the Supreme Lord.
Yeah, so he's telling that this is 4th canto is what? Secondary creation by Brahma and Manus. Means what? It is Visarga. And the chapter details are given ahead, which you can see. But point which I want to mention here is, what is the title of 4th canto you see here? Creation of 4th order. So many times this confusion is there. So here in purport of Srila Prabhupada, we can confirm it that what Prabhupada wants. So 4th canto is what the subject matter? It is Visarga. So for 3rd canto is Sarga, 4th canto is Visarga, and so on. It is not the way it is given in the book, right? Here. If you see, I hope you are understanding what I am trying to say. If you see, the 1st canto is titled as creation. And the 2nd canto is sub-creation. And 3rd canto is, I don't know what English name they are using. So, but it is staggered actually by 2 cantos. And there is always, why? Now here it's very clear. Prabhupada himself is writing that 4th canto is Visarga. And secondly, one reference from his writings. here only also. Yeah. So here you are seeing the names here. So these names somehow they have come. Okay. They don't match with what Prabhupada has written. Okay. How they have come, we don't know. I asked some people. I am planning to ask Jayadvait Maharaj also, who was editor. But it is quite staggered. Actually, Samam Bonam is 12th canto. Now I will show you this. Yeah. See, Jalduta diary, you can see very clearly what Prabhupada has written. Yeah, you can see this is Jalduta diary, Sunday, 14th, 1965. Srila Prabhupada is making a note. Not on this, on 28. He had some meeting and then he's writing memoranda. See what he's writing? The absolute truth, first canto. Symptoms of objectivity is second canto. Creation of material world is third canto, Sarga. The sub-creators is fourth canto, Visarga. The Sthanam, our planetary system, is fifth canto. And the Poshanam is sixth canto. Creative impetus Uti is seventh canto. Change of manpower, that is Manvantar, eighth canto. Ishanu Katha, ninth canto. The Ashraya Krishna, cause of Sarva Karanakaram, 10th canto. Then Mukti, 11th canto. And Samam Bonam, 12th canto. This is Prabhupada written personally, right? Without any other writing, he has just written this. So, this is the foundational writing, which is exactly in line with all the previous acharyas. And same with the Prabhupada. Now, the doubt comes is why the other names are different. So, that we don't know, maybe, but we have to understand that what is right and what is inappropriate and why it is, we don't know. But we have to be in line. Now, one may say that why we are discussing this, the titles of this. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken in a particular system by Shukdev Goswami. And it has to be seen and understood in that method. So if that is only changed, then the whole purpose is missing. And sometimes some devotees with these names, they try to explain the whole subject matter also. And it can be done. Actually, preacher can do anything. And it's not a problem in one sense. But if we want to learn Bhagavatam, then we have to go through the system which is given by the author. Right? So one can bring out any lesson from any story because stories are quite big. So that's why it's very important. So these two things you will find difference, but understand that how Prabhupada is very clearly mentioning here, right? In this purport just now we saw, there very clearly Prabhupada is writing, isn't it? That this canto is what? It is Visarga. So that's why the overview is very important. And so we'll see some of that overview so that we are put in right perspective while learning Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So all of us know that Bhagavatam has 10 topics. Atra Sarga Visargasya Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manvantare Shanukatha Nirodho Mukti Rashraya. Right? These 10 topics are there. But what is actually there is only one topic, that is Ashraya. So that is told in the next verse. Dashamasya Vishuddhyartham Navanam Iha Lakshanam. So to isolate or to distinguish the 10th topic from the other 9 topics, the 9 topics are described. The whole purpose of other 9 topics is to indicate 10th topic. Because the 10th topic cannot be experienced or perceived very easily by material senses. Just like root of the tree, right? Can we see the root of the tree? We can't see, but we see the everything else which comes from that root. Similarly, Sarga, Visarga, all these things we are able to see, right? Everything created around us. So how that everything created has connection with Ashraya is what is the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it starts with Sarga, Visarga, elemental creation, and then sub-creation or Visarga, the bodies and the places of stay. Then Sthanam is the laws of that place, or where person can make advancement by situating. That is called Sthanam, right? So Sthiti, Vaikuntha, Vijaya, and so on it goes. So let us see very quickly to put things in right perspective. The entire overview. Yes. I think I have shown this in your third canto beginning, so we'll not see much details right now, but just to put things in perspective, we'll see. So as I told, only there is one topic. So what are different topics? So there are different topics here. So in first two cantos, what was shown is Adhikari Tattva. The first canto is telling about Adhikari Tattva, where the qualification of speaker and qualification of hearer is predominantly described. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this in the beginning of fourth chapter. That now, fourth chapter on. So you see there the qualification of Parikshit, qualification of Shukdev Goswami, qualification of Shaunakadi Rishis, which are hearers, qualification of Sud Goswami, which is a speaker, then qualification of Naimisharanya sages, as well as not Naimisharanya sages, the Ved Vyas and Narada. So these three conversations are there in the first canto. So they are different levels of speakers and different levels of hearers. So the highest is Shukdev Goswami and Parikshit. The middle is Narada and Vyas. And lower is Sut Goswami and Saunakadi Rishis, which were aspiring initially to go to Swarga. But over a period of time, by hearing from Roma Harshana and then Sut Goswami, other Puranas, they came to spiritual enquiries, and then they became more devotionally inclined as they heard Bhagavatam. So that's how they progressed actually. So that is what is first canto topic. Adhikarita Tattva. And the second topic, having described Adhikar of speaker and the hearer, if you see the major component is Parikshit Maharaj is elaborately explained, isn't it? Then Shukdev Goswami. Because that is something to be cultivated. So that is what is first canto in short. Second canto is also part of prelude, having established the Adhikar. Now, what is the sadhan? What is the process is established. Over all other processes, Bhakti is the highest process. First three chapters are established predominantly. And in that, which is characterized by Navavida Bhakti, specifically in this context of Bhagavatam, it is Shravanam. And Shravanam of everything. Shravanam of Krishna Leela, Sushti Leela, Avatar Leela, and Jeev Leela, Maya Leela, everything. All of the Leelas. So that is sadhana of Bhakti characterized by Shravanam. So that is established in second canto. If you see, and of course, second canto has many other topics also. There are description of avatars very, very briefly. So if you carefully observe, there are many topics in second canto, but they are in very brief. Predominantly, topic is establishing the sadhan and repeating the importance of sadhan. That's what is Brahma Narada Samvad, if you see. And at the end of second canto, Shukdev Goswami says that now I am going to speak Bhagavatam. And then he tells 10 topics, right? So that's how the third canto onwards, the 10 topics are connected. As per all Acharyas, Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jeev Goswami and Prabhupada, right? So the third canto is mainly speaking about Sarga, predominantly. And that continues till first few chapters in this canto also. Not this canto, sorry. So Sarga. And Visarga also, first few chapters of third canto are Sarga, specific Sarga, very specific. But there is some Visarga also spoken in third canto. But fourth canto, more or less, it is Visarga only. Visarga means secondary. So Tanapad's daughters, genealogy and pastimes and everything. So that is sub-creation, Visarga. And then Sthanam, which is the fifth canto. So geography of Sthanam is last part of fifth canto. And the first part is the proper appropriate and inappropriate renunciation. And the sixth canto is Poshanam. The major stories of this, where Lord is protecting them. Right? So, and then there is Uti, then there is Manvantara, then there is Ishanu Katha, Mukti. Mukti is 11th canto, where Lord is speaking personally, elaborate philosophical treatise. And then there are 4 types of destruction in 12th canto. And the whole purpose of all these topics is to indicate the Samam Bonam or Ashray Tattva, which is Krishna's pastime in 90 chapters. So that's how this is there. And as I told, so this is how Prabhupada has defined. And the 4th canto is Visarga, sub-creator. So this 10 topics are specifically indicating how to approach Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, so now we'll just see the prelude we saw in first 2 cantos. Now third canto, what was the subject matter, and then we'll touch the 4th canto. Right. So third canto, if you see, the predominant pastimes are this. Right. You are seeing the pictures. So third canto is addressing the different ideas. Like Hiranyaksha is the main, many chapters is there. So according to the structure of Srimad Bhagavatam, the description of Sarga is going to make us clear that how the Supreme Lord is involved in everything which is happening in the material world. So which is completely opposite of the mentality of Sankhya, that one can know by one's own knowledge. Like Brahmaji is trying to search. That is the pastime, right? Brahmaji got up, and he tried to search the Supreme Lord or from where the sound is coming. But could he find out by himself? No. So that is one pastime which is showing. So when this, this structural overview is given by His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj. So when he is explaining the structure, he is telling that this third canto is specifically dealing with Sankhya mentality. Sankhya mentality is what? That Aroha and Avaroha Pantha is there. No? So you approach the absolute truth by one's own intelligence. So that is only here refuted. Because Bhagavatam is commentary on what? Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta Sutra is extremely systematic, where there is first refutation and then there is establishment of what you want to establish. Paramata Khandan and Swamata Sthapan. So Paramata Khandan is done in third and fourth canto. So what is third canto Paramata Khandan is Sankhya mentality of the people. Sankhya. Sankhya is refuted. So through this, and right Sankhya is established at the end by Kapil Dev. So, right? So that's how this canto is there. And what happens by this Sankhya mentality is the exploitative mentality of Hiranyaksha is there. So scientists, so Sankhya mentality, you may say that now there are no Sankhyites, but there are scientists. They are more or less having similar ideology as scientists. That we try to find out deeper and deeper in the material world and deeper mechanisms. But our goal is to exploit and enjoy. To know, exploit and enjoy. By rejecting the Supreme Lord's intervention and presence. So that's why he says, if you see here, scientific mentality, I enjoy the material world, or greed. That is what is given up. The misconception is given up that they have matter as origin of all consciousness. We study, analyze, and conquer the nature to enjoy and exploit it. Such mentalities, or Newton's mentality, God only created material world, but has no involvement in it. So these mentalities are completely refuted by learning the third canto. And secondly, the Lord is involved in every minute act of material world after creating material world. That is also described. If you see, so much of Sushti Lila is there, Virat Rup description is there, right? 3 times it, 2 times it comes. And second canto you learned 3 times. Why it is there? To cut the Sankhya mentality, right? So this is the Sarga. When one Sarga, see, all other Puranas have Sarga, but they don't have such clear understanding of Supreme Lord involved in the Sarga. That is what is meaning of Dashamasya Vishuddhartham, to indicate the 10th topic in all the topics. So that's how third canto is removing that. And with that, if you see how Maya works is also told. So that now we are not discussing third canto. So having said that, these mentalities of Sankhya, now fourth canto is establishing and refuting the Mimamsa philosophy. How it is doing? By describing lot of people following yagyas. You see so many pastimes in fourth canto, right? They are involved with yagya. So we'll come to that. But see the connection. So Diti and Kashyapa. So that pastime we know, right? So Diti approaching Kashyapa at wrong time, that produced Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, which is materialistic mentality. But opposite to that way, the solution is Vedic way of life, depicted by Devahuti and Kardama at the end. Right? So it appears that Vedic way of life is the solution for the Hiranyaksha mentality or Sankhya mentality. So, but the fourth canto tells so many stories involving so many people involving in Vedic way of life. Can you give some examples in fourth canto? People are involved in sacrifices, big sacrifices. Daksha himself, yeah. So much dangerous happened in that. Prachini Bari at the end, who is attached. Who else? Yeah, Pruthu Indra episode is here only. This is all happening around the Yagya only. Right? So fourth canto is telling that although Vedic way of life is surely better than materialistic, atheistic way of life or Sankhya, but it has lot of hidden problems. It is just like enjoying in a cultured way. That's all. That is what is refuted in fourth canto, all the pastimes. So that's what Mimamsakas, what they say, that you just do this yagya, go to Swarga, enjoy, come back, again do, again go, again enjoy. Right? So this Mimamsa philosophy is refuted in the fourth canto because it has lot of hidden problems and which you will see. And because Vedic way of life appears to be full of rituals, but there are a lot of repercussions to that if one is not properly oriented in it without devotional service or pure devotional service. So you see that this is life of culture, lot of sacrifices, but there are so many worshipable demigods and this and that, right? And there are so many rules and regulations, right? So it's surely conducive lifestyle, but it is not the goal because it has lot of hidden problems. It is like here it is there. It is Vedic materialism. It is not atheistic materialism. It's a Vedic materialism. I will enjoy by following Vedic way. So this is what. But if one says that what are the problems, we can see there are a lot of conflicts. There are a lot of competitions. See the whole canto, if you see, you will see these things only. There is a lot of envy. Now we are discussing, right? Diti and Indra. So pride, envy, disrespect, offenses, insecurity. This is what is the problem with taking Vedic life as all in law without devotional service. So that is the subject matter of fourth canto actually. So you see all these stories are there, beginning with Atri, who is not very clear about who is the Supreme Lord. Right? This is one problem of Vedic way of life. They are not clear. Right? Many people will come with all temples, with all tilaks, they will come, but they don't, it's not clear what is what. And then there are so many, Sati, person like Sati is leaving the body because of the attachment and pride of her father. Hmm? Then there is Dhruva Maharaj pastime, who also actually did many yajnas. Dhruva Maharaj also. And Pruthu Archi, his father also did yajna to bring son, but son was Vena. So the results of sacrifice are not very sure. So that's how you, and ends with Prachini Barishat, who was completely attached to sacrifice. So the whole point of fourth canto is this. You see, these all problems are there. Blood, confused understanding of absolute truth, uncertainty about result, and difficulty to perform, and makes one attached to material life. Like Prabhupada writes, don't become attached to the, no, there are accidents on highway, royal roads. Is this only. Becoming attached to a particular ritualistic way of life. Rag, Dvesh, Vimukta, Istu, etc. So these problems create conflicts, competition, offenses, insecurity, hypocritical actions. And this is what is there in the fourth canto in a negative sense. Of course, this is not the only thing. There are so many wonderful things. But there are subtle problems of Vedic ways of life. And that's how it refutes this Karma Mimamsa philosophy, right? So that's how this fourth canto is telling. And the solution is told. If you see the solution, Dhruva Maharaj is aspiring for the solution. That is, I want to again and again associate with pure devotees and hear Krishna Katha. Prithu Maharaj is saying, I want here. So while doing Vedic way of life, if one hears Krishna Katha from right sources, then one will not become attached. If you see, Narada is also same instruction is given to Prachini Bari. So it a collective similar solution is given all throughout the canto. That one should not give up the life, but one should involve proper Harikatha and Bhakti in the lifestyle, association of great souls. That's why all the stories are actually saying that one, right? So that's what is the message of this fourth canto, right? So now going further, so fifth canto tells about the right and wrong renunciation, right? So I'll just show that. We'll quickly come to our topic. Yeah. So here you are seeing. So fifth canto is telling sthanam. So what it does that mean? So there, what is refuted here is there are Advaitin who are followers of some ideologies. So their philosophy of renunciation is being refuted. There is appropriate renunciation and there is improper renunciation. That is the subject matter of fifth canto. And what is renunciation purpose is to progress spiritually, right? So sthanam means you situate yourself externally at a place in the universe, in a particular varna, ashram, etc., and follows the laws internally to actually make progress. So that's what is sthanam means. Vaikuntha Vijaya. So Lord is glorified all over the place, and one should do that and progress towards the highest destination. So that is sthanam. And then the sixth canto, which is the Poshanam, which is very clearly depicting mixed devotion versus pure devotion through these three stories. Ajamil, or Ajamil, not Ajamil actually, the Yamdutas and Vishnudutas, if you see, they are not having faith on pure devotion potency. So that is, then there is Indra and our Pitrasur on battlefield, right? So very clear depiction of mixed devotion and pure devotion. And at the end, right now discussion is going on. That is what happens in practitioners of mixed devotion. There is a competition, there is envy. Diti wanting to kill Indra, Indra wanting to kill Diti, that kind of thing. So that's how the sixth canto establishes, refuting all the Sankhya, Mimamsa, and Advaita philosophy. Pure devotion is highest, not just devotion, but the pure devotion. That is the Bhakti Vaibhav. That's what Maharaj is saying. So Bhakti Vaibhav course means you will come to conclusion that pure devotion is the highest conclusion of Bhagavad. And then how to practice pure devotion is seventh canto. After, with whatever background one has, uti means inclinations, the impressions. But if one associates with pure devotee, he can attain perfection. That is seventh canto. And then one surrenders, that is eighth canto, Sharanagati. So different artha, jidnyasu, artharthi, jnani. So there is Gajendra, who is artha. Artharthi is demigods in Samudra Manthan. Jnani is Shivji, inquisitive to see Mohini Murti. And Satyavrat Muni in the end, 8.24. So Sharana and pure surrender of Balimar. And after Sharanagati, what happens? Ninth canto is all unique stories of the big, very big people apparently committing very big mistakes, right? That's how ninth canto is. So that is Anarth Nivrutti in this sequence. And then there is ultimate topic of 10th canto, the Ashraya Tattva. And then there is Mukti, which is 11th canto, where Lord is elaborately speaking about all the paths, establishing, of course, Bhakti also, like Bhagavad Gita, elaborately, not like in hurriedly as he spoke in the battlefield. To Arjuna, he could not speak elaborately there because he wanted to encourage Arjuna to fight. But Uddhav Gita is very big treatise. And then lastly, Nirodha, that is 4 kinds of destruction. So there is Nitya, constant destruction. Naimittik destruction, which is at the end of Brahmaji's day. There is Prakritik destruction, which happens at the Brahmaji's life. And there is Atyantik destruction, which happens when one gives up false ego. So that's what is the overview. Now going into the 4th canto. So as we saw, 4th canto is mainly Visarga. So all topics are there in all cantos, as told by all acharyas, but predominantly these topics are there. And if we focus on properly learning in that perspective, it will help us to understand Bhagavatam from a author's perspective, right? Which is the broadest perspective of Shukdev Goswami. So going back to our, now here, Prabhupada also is telling that this is Visarga. And so what is there in this? So please read this. The 4th canto, entire 4th canto, breakup is given.
In the first chapter of this 4th canto, there are descriptions of the 3 daughters of Swayambhuva Manu and their descendants. The next 6 chapters describe the sacrifice performed by King Daksha and how it was spoiled. Thereafter, the activities of Maharaj Dhruva are described in 5 chapters. Then in 11th chapter, the activities of King Prithva are described. And the next 8 chapters are devoted to the activities of the Pracheta kings.
Yeah, so that's how the 31 chapters are covered in this 4th canto, explaining Visarga. But in background, this Karma Mimamsa and all the problems will be revealed as the things goes ahead. So coming to this verse now. So this verse is telling that Manostu Shatarupayam. So Manostu, why 2 words is used? Prabhupada also says that because Manu is the special son of Brahma. Brahma had so many sons. You learned in 3.12 and 3.20. But Swayambhuva Manu is very special because he was a great devotee of Lord. That's why the word but the Manu is used. So he was a great devotee. Why? That's why he is mentioned like this. And he also had 2 sons. That is Cha. So that's how Prabhupada is explaining. So going further. So this particular chapter has 3 sections basically. So these three daughters are there: Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. So first 9 verses, I think, yeah, first 9 verses are about Akuti's lineage. Then from 10 to 47 is Devahuti's lineage, and then last part is 48 to 66 is the third Prasuti's lineage. That's how next chapter begins with Daksha Sabha. So mainly these three sections, and more or less lot of list of the genealogical table is there. So we'll go quickly, and somewhere some purports, some important points are there. We'll zoom there and have some reflection. And while telling these descendants, there are two important stories. One is Dattatreya and other is Yajna. Okay. Yajna, how these two lords are appearing in the lineages, different lineages, right? So that's what, so at places we'll go quickly because there is, although there are many verses, I think how many? 66 verses, but Krishna willing will try to complete it. Let us see how it goes. So yeah, text 2, you can read the translation.
Akuti had two brothers, but in spite of her brothers, King Swayambhu Manu handed her over to Prajapati Ruchi on the condition that the son born of her be returned to Manu as his son. That he did in consultation with his wife Shatarupa.
Yeah. So Putrika Dharmam Akutim Ruchaye Pradad Api Bhratranam Nirpaha Putrika Dharmam Ashritya Shatarupa Anumoditaha. So even in the beginning of creation, the proper culture of husband and wife is established here. That with the permission of wife, he did this. Right? So the same is the case with Lord Shiva. When he drank halahal, that time also he took permission of wife. So they are showing the culture, proper culture, which is followed by, they don't have to, but they are following. Shatarupa Anumoditaha. So what he did, that okay, I will give my daughter to Ruchi, who is very powerful sage. But with a condition that when you will get son, that son you have to give me as charity. Although he had two sons, उत्तानपाद प्रियव्रत थे ना उनके पास, तो क्यों मांगा उन्होंने? Because he knew that Supreme Lord is going to take birth. Manu was knowing, that's why he is asking this. So that's what Prabhupada also tells. He did not desire more sons, but he knew that Akuti would give birth to avatar of Lord, since Manu had omniscience. May the Lord be my daughter's son and my son as well. So that way he had feeling. But see, Atri also had similar feeling, but Atri's understanding is not clear. Whereas Manu is very clear, because he is a proper devotee, pure devotee, right? That's why he is there in the Mahajanas. Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumaro, Kapilo, Manu. So this is the Swayambhu Manu. This is Mahajan. So this Putrika Dharma is explained by Prabhupada, and here is some verse is also quoted by Vishwanath, that is explained by Prabhupada. So sometimes a sonless person offers his daughter to a husband on a condition that this grandson will be returned to him to be adopted as his son and inherit his property. This is called Putrika Dharma. So Putrika Dharmena with this. So we see extra. So this already I told. Manu is having two sons, but still he is asking. Why? Because he knew that Lord is going to appear and I want Lord to be my son as well, not just grandson. Right? So yeah, go ahead. Please read the translation.
Ruchi, who was very powerful in his Brahmanical qualifications and was appointed one of the progenitors of the living entities, begot one son and one daughter by his wife Akuti.
Yeah. So Prajapati sa Bhagavan Ruchis Tasya Atma Janat. So he is very much, Ruchi is called very powerful by many adjectives here. Bhagavan and Brahma Varchasvi, Prajapati, etc. So Prabhupada explains this one word only, mainly in his purport. What is this Brahma Varchasvi? Means spiritually very much powerful. So why he was powerful? So very significant, because he was a Brahmana and he executed his duties very rigidly. So what are these duties? Prabhupada explained Satya, no, Suchi, Shama, all these things from Bhagavad Gita. So he explains that these are the qualities to be present in a Brahmana, by which that person becomes powerful. So whereas the person who doesn't have those qualities but he has taken birth is called Brahma Bandhu. So this is a respectful way of address in Vedic culture. So you are calling a person who has taken birth in Brahman family but not having qualities as Brahma Bandhu. He is the friend of the Brahmanas. So this is a respectful and very clear address in the Vedic culture. So they are born in the families of Brahmanas but do not follow the rules and regulations carefully. All these three classes are called less intelligent. So these three means three Sudra Dvija Bandhunam. Prabhupada is telling. For them, Shruti na gochara. They cannot access the Vedic literature. Then he says a very important point. Yeah, please read this entire thing. This restriction.
This restriction is based not upon any sectarian distinction, but upon qualification. The Vedic literatures cannot be understood unless one has developed the Brahminical qualifications. It is regrettable, therefore, that persons who have no Brahminical qualification and have never been trained under a bona fide spiritual master, nevertheless comment on Vedic literatures like the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. For such persons cannot deliver their real message.
Yeah. So what is the problem if one is not developing this Brahminical qualities or Brahminical qualifications? What Prabhupada is saying here? What is the challenge? Or one is cannot understood. So that is and what is the repercussion of that? Or what is regrettable, Prabhupada is saying? Mislead by what? By what Prabhupada is saying here? Cannot deliver the real message. So it may appear that message is given from scripture, but the real message is not given, which scripture is supposed to give. Like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's message has to be given. Right? The other day, Prabhupada is telling in Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam class that it has to be described, Bhagavad Gita has to be described as Krishna spoke it, not what we speculate to be. Then Krishna won't be present, Prabhupada said. So the message has to be given as per the purpose of the author and the book, right? The proper or real message has to be understood and given. So that cannot be done without the Brahminical qualification. That's what Prabhupada is saying here. And it is regrettable. And Prabhupada's in introduction of Bhagavad Gita, he writes that people try to kill Krishna by speaking on the name of Bhagavad Gita, whatever they want to speak. So, of course, we are not doing that. Prabhupada is talking about outsiders. At the same time, when we are trying to preach, we have to be very careful that are we giving the right message? Are we giving the real message? And for that, we need to develop Brahminical qualification. So one may say that why we are going into casteism? No, we are not going into casteism. We are talking about Brahminical qualification, not Brahminical birth. So Brahminical qualification is necessary to be cultivated. And same thing Prabhupada says in 1:14:34. Yeah, you can read from here. Yeah. This is 1:14:34.
A society devoid of co-protection and Brahminical culture is not under the direct protection of the Lord. Just as prisoners in the jails are not under the protection of the king, but under the protection of a severe agent of the king. Without co-protection and cultivation of Brahminical qualities in human society, at least for a section of the members of society, no human civilization can prosper at any length. By Brahminical culture, the development of dormant qualities of goodness, namely truthfulness, equanimity, sense control, forbearance, simplicity, general knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and firm faith in the Vedic wisdom, one can become a Brahmana and thus see the Lord as he is. And after surpassing the Brahmanical perfection, one has to become a devotee of the Lord so that his loving affection in the form of proprietor, master, friend, son, and lover can be transcendentally achieved. The stage of a devotee which attracts the transcendental affection of the Lord does not develop unless one has developed the qualities of a Brahmana, as mentioned, above mentioned. The Lord is inclined to a Brahmana of quality and not of false prestige. Those who are less than a Brahmana by qualification cannot establish any relation with the Lord, just as fire cannot be kindled from the raw earth unless there is wood, although there is a relation between wood and earth.
Yeah. So here in this particular purport, Prabhupada is telling the importance of cultivating the qualities of a Brahmana. Whosoever must maybe, but we have to come to these qualities of truthfulness, forbearance, equanimity, simplicity, sense control, general knowledge, jnanam, vidyanam, that verse only it is. Astikyam, etc. So, guna karma vibhagasha. So, the Brahmanical culture means one may not do the activities of Brahmana, everyone, but the qualities of Brahmana needs to be cultivated. And of course, Prabhupada is very clearly saying that we are not here talking about only Brahman, but in devotional service. To understand the Lord, to serve the Lord. So he's saying the stage of a devotee which attracts the transcendental affection of the Lord does not develop unless one has developed the qualities of Brahmana as above mentioned. So that's why it's very important for us to actually cultivate this Brahmanical. And it's very now some of the devotees may receive this thing. So the whole purpose is this. It is not about other things. So all other activities will help us to come to development of the qualities of Brahmana. And he's warning also that not the proud Brahman, right? He's saying inclined to Brahmana. Because there is word in the verse called Brahmanyo Bhaktavatsalaha. So Yudhishthir Maharaj is asking, how is Krishna, who is Brahmanya and Bhaktavatsala? So Prabhupada is quoting here. So it's very important that we try to cultivate the qualities of Brahman, and it surely, Krishna willing, it gets help. Even externally, getting second initiated will help devotees, because that's what it is. So here Prabhupada is saying that. So going back to, so then only we'll able to give the, or we go closer to present the truth as it is. Otherwise, what will happen? We may present truth as we thought it to be, or as we thought. That's why the as the importance is the scriptures needs to be understood from proper sources. Means they explain the scripture the way it is explained by acharyas, not explain the scripture for what they want. So that is not the best way to present the scripture, because the truth is not presented. So there can be different avenue for that. But when it comes to education, when Prabhupada says temples are education centers, our temples are education centers. So there the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita has to be properly presented in a way it is presented by Prabhupada and previous Acharya. Right? Otherwise, we may not give the message which is given by them. We may give the message which we want. And in one sense, which is okay, but that is not the avenue for that. That is not the platform for that. That can be a separate thing for that. So that's why it is very important. Otherwise, scriptures are very vast and one can use in whatever way he wants. Any verse. Without context, we can use the text in any way we want. So it's not the best use of the scripture, right? because the deliverer, the proper message will not be given. So same thing Prabhupada writes in one purport. This is 141 and not 141. We'll just show the essence of it. Yeah. It is not coming. What is realization? He says, not this one. Yeah. Yeah, this you are seeing. Yeah. So this is 141, right? So this is a very famous purport where Prabhupada says about what is realization. Sukdev Goswami is speaking, right? So many of us are trying to preach Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada is giving very clear instructions how we should do it. How we should be flexible, but we should be in line with the message, should be in fidelity with the parampara. So please read this, presenting the truth. Two aspects. Fidelity means what? The real message. Receiving the real message, understanding and giving and living by it, trying to live by that. And flexibility means we try to accommodate people, attract people to the main message to make it relevant. So Prabhupada very nicely says there. Yeah. You can read from point number 2 only. Yeah. Fidelity. What is that?
Fidelity, authenticity and authoritativeness, deeper in Krishna consciousness. Full confidence on previous acharyas.
So first thing he says is one should have full confidence in previous acharya, right? So that is the first thing. It is not just one acharya or complete confidence. Like 2 examples are given there. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur fasting after reading the Kaviraj Goswami's 24.5 moons, right? So he is not able to understand, but he is not saying that is wrong, I am right, etc. So having full confidence, not that we separate Prabhupada and all other acharyas. So that is not full confidence. Secondly, what Prabhupada says?
Must realize subject matter nicely.
Yeah, he must realize the subject matter nicely. And then in italics, what is writing?
Original purpose of text must be maintained.
Yeah, the original purpose of text must be maintained. For maintaining original text, what we have to do first? To understand the original meaning of the text. Then we can maintain, no? And Prabhupada very rarely writes italics. So here it is italics. So original purpose of the text. So this can mean 2 things. One is what Prabhupada has written as purports. The original purpose is maintained. So understood why Prabhupada has written. Secondly, text means the verse as well. The text. And no obscure meaning should be screwed out. Obscure meaning means which is not intended by the acharya or the speaker. That we don't screw out from the verse or the purport, what we want to say. Right? So it's not the best way to present actually Shastra. Sometimes it is okay that we choose some verse and then do, but that's not the best way to do. Because only context is not given, only particular thing is given. And what is flexibility? The factual expression of compassion. So that can happen when one has become broader. So what Prabhupada is saying, please read below this.
To present matter for the particular circumstances in suitable manner.
Sorry, presented in an interesting manner for understanding the audience. So this is the flexibility part. So that's why we have to be careful in connecting with parampara and connecting with people, both. So that's why the real message will be transferring through us as a transparent via media. Otherwise, it will become opaque and it will have effects, which will come to us. And that will also teach us something. Right? So going further, read the translation, 4th verse. Of the 2 children.
Of the 2 children born of Akuti, the male child was directly an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his name was Yajna, which is another name of Lord Vishnu. The female child was partial incarnation of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, the eternal consort of Lord Vishnu.
Yeah. So now Yajna, From them, Yagya appeared, right? And not just Yagya, Dakshina also appeared, who was the Amsha of Lakshmi. So both Lord and consort appeared. Yeah. What happened? I had to read.
Swambhu Manu very gladly brought home the beautiful boy named Yagna and Ruchi, his son-in-law, kept with him the daughter Dakshina.
Yeah. So he was very joyful that, okay, if I take son, he will have daughter at least, right? So, and then they are married after that. So that's why he was very glad. So Prabhupada writes all these things in his purport. But here, just one principle is mentioned by Prabhupada. Yeah, you can read that highlighted portion. That is Yagya word is there, na, that he is explaining. Yeah.
It does not matter if the reaction is good or bad. If our activities are not dovetailed with the desire of the Supreme Lord, or if we do not act in Krishna consciousness, then we shall be responsible for the results of all our activities.
Yeah. So here basically Prabhupada is quoting Yagya Artha Karmanayo Annatra. So because Yagya word has come, so Prabhupada is telling that whatever pious or impious activities, if they are in not connection with the Supreme Lord, it is going to bind. It's like wet stool and dry stool, Prabhupada says, right? But both are binding. Pious activities can be apparently good, but what is good in that? Only one good thing is they are little bit receptive for Krishna consciousness. That's all. Right? So that's why Prabhupada is saying. What is that? Ei bhalo, ei manda, ei sab ram. That's what is telling. Whatever good or bad, if it is a manodharma, it's all on the mental platform. If it is not on Krishna conscious platform. Thus, if one acts for Yagya or Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is not entangled in material condition. Yeah. Read the sixth translation.
The Lord of the ritualistic performance of Yagya later married Dakshina, who was anxious to have the personality of Godhead as her husband. And in this wife, the Lord who was also very much pleased to beget 12 children.
Yeah. So they had 12 children whose names are given in the next verse. So this particular purport, Prabhupada writes about the ideal family life, which today also in Bhagavatam class also was described, right? The responsibility of wife, etc. Very authoritatively. So that similar thing is described here today in this particular purport about wife. So we already heard, but same thing is mentioned here. Some points we can read. Maybe, yeah. From here you can read.
In other words, where there is no disagreement between husband and wife, all material opulence is present.
Yeah.
And good children are born.
Yeah. And then all things are given. Wife is trained to be satisfied in all condition. And husband, according to Vedic instruction, what he should do? He should try to please the wife with sufficient food, ornaments, and clothing. If they are satisfied with their mutual dealings, good children are born. And then Prabhupada depicts about Kali Yuga's condition. So here the one important thing is that actually the right atmosphere in right culture is necessary actually for future progeny to come. So Vedic culture and Vedic paradigm is necessary to bring in. Like Prabhupada said that 50% of my work is remaining. That is what? Establishing the Varnashrama society. Where there are, Varnashram is not just psychophysical nature. It's a complete cultural package. Sometimes we think that, okay, psychophysical nature matching. No, it's all, there is authority of Lord is accepted. There are rules and regulations defined and the engagement according to nature. It's all culture. Like the other day, we were hearing in Bhagavatam class very beautifully about how Shiva is dealing with his wife after wife did the mistake. Right? You remember? How Shiva is so properly, dealing with wife, not chastising, not criticizing, but still speaking in a very mature way, knowing the womanly nature. There is human psychology, there is man psychology, and a woman psychology. So actually dealing according to Vedic culture is very important. Hmm? So currently Prabhupada is saying here, in this way, the entire world can become peaceful. Prabhupada is saying, in this way. Means Vedic way if we live. But unfortunately, this age of Kali, there are no ideal husbands and wives. Therefore, unwanted children are produced. And there is no peace and prosperity in the present world. So, we have to go closer to understanding Vedic culture and go closer to applying that. Now, that's what Prabhupada's desire is. Because after few years, it will be impossible in one sense to stay in cities, exist in cities, and chant 16 rounds. Almost impossible. I can experience that in my brother's wife, brother's life. Sorry. Wife is able to chant peacefully. Prabhu is not able to chant because of his very hectic schedule and very non-conducive atmosphere. So we have to know the Vedic culture. We have to understand its depths. Hmm? It is not just rules and regulations. It's very refined culture. And we cannot understand unless we meet people who understand. Like Sarvabhaum Prabhu had come recently. So he was explaining, he was given nice verse about Vedic culture in Kunj Bihari temple. Otherwise, even if we read, we will not understand anything. Because we don't know, we have not seen it. And how we will know how it will work. But Prabhupada does want us to follow that. Does want that this culture should come. And that is the only solution for mass outreach. So that's why it's very important to understand this culture. That's what here it is told. That's what Prabhu also was in class telling, right? That this is what it is. Shastra is telling and this has to be done. Otherwise, all problems will come, right? Very simple and very actual example he was telling. So they are not working for each other. Nobody is doing. So that's what here he is telling. That, take care of husband and husband takes care of wife. And one may say that, okay, what about brahmacharis? Why we are discussing all these things? So how does it connect to brahmachari here? Husband, wife. Similar is authority, subordinate. So it is not exactly the same, but the mood is similar. So if we are in that mood, whosoever will be our authority. See, beauty of Vedic culture is, or Krishna, see, Vedic culture are Krishna's principles. That's how we have to see. It is Krishna's culture. Sometimes we say Vedic culture is outdated. No, but Krishna's culture is not outdated. Krishna's culture works every time. So Krishna's culture is, if you are dutiful in your role, whosoever it is, you will be progressing in Krishna consciousness. So as a subordinate, if we are subordinate, we try to go closer to the ideal subordinate. Being willingness to obey, willingness to be flexible according to needs and understanding the authorities. So to say, nice, we say, no? Need, interest, concerns, etc. And trying to be malleable. At the same time, trying to be honestly expressing our needs as well. Right? So with this proper relationship, something can positively come out. But one cannot say that, okay, if I get the best authority, then I will be best subordinate. No, the beauty of Vedic culture is, even if you are Mandodari, Ravana is husband. Yesterday I was reading 9th canto. Mandodari, Prabhupada writes there that Mandodari is saying to Ravana that because you have chosen all these wrong activities, so you are suffering and you will go to your body will be eaten by vultures and your soul will go to hell. Like that he said. And in that purport, Prabhupada is writing that how is it that Mandodari is knowing all this and still she is serving the husband? Can you imagine? So Prabhupada says that Mandodari was knowing because of dint of her chastity, everything was revealed to her. She was knowing what is happening. So actually, the point is we have to be dutiful for pleasure of Krishna as our being a subordinate. And being authority also we have to do that. If we are authorities, many of us are. So we have to be very proper in knowing our duty and do the duty for pleasure of Krishna. So surely there will be progress in Krishna consciousness. Whosoever is the authority, and there will be better. And we have seen that in history, so many examples, right, of that. The positive, negative, so many examples are there of that, right? So that's why this is relevant for us. So just one more verse, and then 12:30 we'll take break. We'll pause for 15 minutes. 7 and 8. Yeah, please read 12 sons' names.
The 12 boys born of Yagya and Dakshina were named Tosha, Pratosha, Shantosha, Bhadra, Shanti, Idaspati, Idma, Kavi, Vibhu, Swahana, Sudeva, and Rochana.
Yeah, go ahead.
During the time of Swayambhu Manu, these sons all became the demigods, collectively named as Tushtitas. Marichi became the head of the 7 rishis, and Yagya became the king of the demigods, Indra.
Yeah. So in Swayambhu Manvantar, the administration is done by 6 things. So that is told in this verse and the next verse, right? So there are 6 administrators of the entire Manvantar. So that they are told in 8th and 9th verse. So what are they? So one is Manu. One is Manu Putras. One is 7 rishis, and Indra. So these 4. And so here you can see Manvantaran Manu Deva Manu Putra Sureshwara Rishayo Amshavatarascha Harehe Shadvidam Uchyate. So Lord Hari maintains the Manvantar by manifesting in 6 ways. So what are these 6 ways? Manu, that is Swayambhu Manu. Deva is demigods. Tushitas are demigods. Manu Putra are Uttanapada and Priyavrat. Sureshwara is Indra. So that Indra is this time who? Yagya is Supreme Lord only is Indra also. And Rishaya means 7 sages. And Amshavatarascha, that is Manvantar avatar. That is also Yagya. So these 6 things are Krishna's Lord's administration for one particular Manvantar, which is given in 12th canto. So that is what. So Prabhupada also writes all these things in his purport. You can see at the end. And 9th verse you can read.
Swayambhu Manu's 2 sons, Priyavrat and Uttanapad, became very powerful kings, and their sons and grandsons spread all over the 3 worlds during that period.
Yeah. So these are Manuputras, right? And this description will follow in the future cantos. Uttanapad will come in this canto only, 4th canto, Dhruva onwards, Dhruva, Prithu and all. And Priyavrat will come in 5th canto. So this is about Akuti's lineage. Now Devahuti's lineage will start. So we'll take break for 15 minutes and then pause for 15 minutes, come back at 12:45 in this watch. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So let us continue our discussion. So Akuti's descendants are over. Now we will enter into Devahuti's descendants. Tenth verse. Yeah. So have mic. Someone has mic. Can read the translation. 10th verse. Yes.
My dear son, Swayambhu Manu handed over his very dear daughter Devhuti to Kardamuni. I have already spoken to you about them, and you have heard about them almost in full.
Yeah. So this already spoken elaborately in the previous canto, right? about Kardama, Devahuti, and Kapila. So you have heard about them almost full. Why almost full? Because Kardama's Kapil Dev's Shiksha is explained, Kapil Dev life is explained, but daughter nothing was explained. No, 9 daughters were there, so almost complete. Shuta Praya. So that daughters will come now. 9 daughters were born na, to Kardama, Muni, and Devahuti in that mansion. So that's why he's saying almost. 11th verse. Translation.
Swayambhu Manu handed over his daughter Prasuti to the son of Brahma named Daksha, who was also one of the progenitors of the living entities. The descendants of Daksha are spread throughout the 3 worlds.
Yeah. So this will come afterwards at the end. But he's just mentioning about Prasuti. Prasuti was given to Daksha. And Daksha became biggest progenitor, one of the. Yes. So now actually factually it starts from 12th verse actually. Genealogical line of Devahuti. So Devahuti had 9 daughters, of which nothing was explained earlier in the 3rd canto. Only Kapil Dev was explained. So 9 daughters were married to 9 Sojis and what their descendants are. That's what is 12 to 47. And in between there is a important story of Dattatreya as well here. Through who? Dattatreya and Anasuya. So Anasuya only, na? Dattatreya and Anasuya, right? Yeah. So that story we'll see a little bit. Yeah. Please read the translation, 12th verse.
You have already been informed about the 9 daughters of Kardam Muni, who were handed over to 9 different sages. I shall now describe the descendant of those 9 daughters. Please hear from me.
Yeah. So I will tell you about those 9 daughters. So Prabhupada says that whatever I told already. So these 9 daughters' names are like this. Because they are in Bhagavatam. So let us see them. What is it? Kala. So Kala is the first. Then Anasuya, Shraddha, Avirbhu, Gati, Kriya, Urja or Arundhati, Chitti and Khyati. Okay, these 9. So they will come one by one. And the sages are Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulatsya, Pulaha, Kratu, Vasishtha, Atharva and Bhrugu. So very prominent sages. So one by one they will come now. Yeah, please read.
Kardamuni's daughter Kala, who was married to Marichi, gave birth to 2 children whose names are Kashyapa and Purnima. Their descendants are spread all over the world.
Yeah, so Kashyapa is a big progenitor, right? So from Kashyapa, you will see that so many 17 kinds of different animals also came from his wife only. That also you'll see in 6th canto, I think, you know, it is. Yeah. So that's how descendants are there all over. Go ahead.
My dear Vidura, of the 2 sons Kashyapa and Purnima begot 3 children, namely Viraja, Vishwaga, and Devakulya. Of these 3, Devakulya was the water which washed the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, and which later on transferred into the Ganges of the heavenly planets.
Yeah. So an elaborate description of these descendants will be there in the 6th canto, as I was telling. No, these are 6th canto. Check. Yeah, please read ahead. Here the story starts. Yeah, read though. Translation. Anasuya.
Anasuya, the wife of the Atri Muni, gave birth to 3 very famous sons, Soma, Dattatreya, and Durvasa, who were partial representation of Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma. Soma was a partial representation of Lord Brahma, Dattatreya was a partial representation of Lord Vishnu, and Durvasa was a partial representation of Lord Shiva.
Yeah. So this is a special. Here also Lord is appearing in Atri Muni in form of Dattatreya. Dattam Durvasasam Somam Amshena Brahma Atmesha Brahma. What is that? Sambhavam. So Atma, Isha or Brahma. So Brahma, Ish means Shiva and Atma means Vishnu. So there Amsha came these 3. Dattatreya, Durvasa and Soma. So Prabhupada here says that this Atma is referring to the Supreme Lord. So there are 2 types, I think, Vibhinnamsha and Amsha, that all Prabhupada explains here. So 2 types are there. So Lord Vishnu or the Supreme Lord Krishna, there are Swamsha and there are Vibhinnamsha. So Dattatreya is in different category. So, and where Soma and what is the Durvasa are in different category. So that's why he is explaining the Swamsha and Vibhinnamsha. Vibhinnamsha are Jivas and Swamsha are Vishnu Tattvas, right? So that is what is told here in this particular purport elaborately. Yeah. So this, and Prabhupada explains all these qualities also from NOD, right? So Vishnu Tattva has 94%, 100% is Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. So 94% means 60 out of 64. Shiva Tattva is 84, that is 55. And Brahma is 78, that is 50. So 50 of 64 comes to 78%. And living entities are like Brahma, but conditioned state, their power is still more dim. So the 50 qualities can at the most developed by a jiva in a minute way. So now having heard this verse, immediately Vidura becomes inquisitive. How such thing has happened? This is very special. So that's how he is asking a question by which the story is opening up. विदुर उवाच अत्रे गृहे सुरश्रेष्ठः स्थिति उत्पत्त्यहेतवः किंचिच्चिकीर्षवो जाता एतदाख्याहि मे गुरो.
After hearing this, Vidura inquired from Maitreya, "My dear master, how is it that the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the whole creation, became the offspring of the wife of Atri Muni?"
This is never to be heard. This very rare thing is happening here. So immediately he is asking, how it happened. So Vidura many times, so Prabhupada also glorifies this. The inquisitiveness of Vidura is very fitting. He is very attentively hearing. You know what is, not that, okay, abhi kuch to list chal raha hai. I'll just spaced out little bit. No, he is very attentive in hearing. So immediately he stopped. Why? How it is possible? No, it's very special. Please tell me how it happened. By that, such an amazing story comes out, right? Maitreya Uvacha Brahmana Choditah Sruštva Atrihi Brahma Vidamvaraha Sahapatnyayayau Raksham Kuladrim Tapasi Sthitaha. Translation.
Maitreya said, when Lord Brahma ordered Atri Muni to create generation after marrying Anasuya, Atri Muni and his wife went to perform severe austerities in the valley of the mountain known as a Raksha.
Yeah. So see, here Lord Brahma ordered you create progeny. So first thing they do this, both of them go for austerity. So that is Vedic culture. They don't go for honeymoon or like that. Same thing we see also in scripture. It's quite actually how much powerful is the culture, no? So, and Anasuya and all these, one of the chaste ladies, which I think there is one verse, Brahmachari should remember 5 or 6 chaste ladies every day. So Anasuya is there in one of them. Think what is Tara, Sita, Mandodari. Who else? Anasuya. And yeah. I think Gandhari also is there, correct. 5 or 6. There is one verse actually. So Anasuya is very powerful lady, chaste lady. Yeah. Yeah, please read ahead. The beauty of mountain is explained. Yeah. Read ahead. In mountain valley. The translation.
In the mountain valley flows a river named Nirvindya. On the bank of the river are many Ashoka trees and other plants full of palasha flowers. And there is always the sweet sound of water flowing from a waterfall. The husband and wife reach that beautiful place.
Yeah, so scenic place, everything is wonderful. So now he's going to start the austerities. Yeah, read on.
There, the great sage concentrated his mind by the yogic breathing exercises and thereby controlling all attachment. He remained standing on one leg only, eating nothing but air, and stood there on one leg for 100 years.
My Lord, 100 years fasting on one leg. Hmm. That is his power of Atri Rishi. Hmm. But you try to understand what he is thinking, what is his conception of God, which is not very clear. We may not able to do such austerity. By grace of Prabhupada, at least we have right understanding, or we are approaching right understanding of the Supreme Lord. Hmm. So now he is kind of, this is like a prayer. Sharanam taprapadyeham ya eva jagadishwaraha prajatmatma samam mahyam prayacchatviti chintayan.
He was thinking, may the Lord of the universe of whom I have taken shelter kindly be pleased to offer me a son exactly like him.
Yeah. So here, what is his desire? Is I want a son like the Supreme Lord. So you remember anyone else like this who is desiring Supreme Lord or like Supreme Lord? Yes? Who? Devaki. Devaki and Vasudeva. They are eternal parents, of course. But Prabhupada writes about them that also is in the 10th canto purport, that it is not the best to bring the Supreme Lord for our desire. But they are eternal parents of the Lord. Whom Prishni Sutapa desired and they did austerities. Yeah. And they got. Who else? Kardam Muni Devhuti, that blessing was given. That I will appear. And not like me. He said, I will appear. So there is one king named Nimi. In 5th canto beginning, I think 5th canto, 3rd chapter. So he also desires. But he is a pure devotee of Lord. So Lord personally appears there. Because Nimi's desire is very pure. Although he tells the Brahmanas who are also pure devotees to do yajna, when they pray to Supreme Lord, they tell the Supreme Lord that this our king is not very clear in his understanding. That's why he is asking you such benefit. Right? So, but Atri is having different intention here. Atri is not having clear conception of the Supreme Lord, and he is more interested to show actually that, see, I will get Supreme Lord as son. So it's more of in a mood of showing. That's why he's doing tapasya. He's not doing bhakti. Doing tapasya actually. You will see in the next verses some fire comes out. By that only they come. Because of it tapasya. So Prabhupada, I think this purport only writes, yeah, it's a material desire, like that Prabhupada. In this purport only writes, yeah, about his desires. So I surrender, he is doing surrender, but he is not clear whom he is surrendering to. He doesn't have clear idea or clear conception of the Supreme Lord. So that's what is told here. So this particular purport very clearly says that what is a conception of Atri Muni and how he is not it doesn't appear to be a pure devotee. Prabhupada also says that. So it appears that great sage Atri Muni had no specific idea of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he may be conversant about creation, maintenance, destruction, but still he is not knowing the difference. So, yeah, please read this highlighted portion.
Atri Muni concentrated his mind upon that Supreme Personality of Godhead, even without knowing his name, just to beg from him a child exactly on his level. This kind of devotional service, in which knowledge of God's name is lacking, is also described in Bhagavad Gita, where the Lord says that 4 kinds of men with backgrounds of pious activities come to him, asking for what they need. Atri Muni wanted a son exactly like the Lord, and therefore he is not supposed to have been a pure devotee, because he had a desire to be fulfilled, and that desire was material.
Yeah, thank you. So, and then Prabhupada goes on to say that, if you would have wanted child Lord only, then that would have been pure desire, no
Mm.
material desire. But like means what? I want that kind of opulence, fame, that I got child like Supreme Lord. So that's how there is a mixture there. He is approaching the Supreme Lord with some personal desire. So thus Atri Muni cannot be counted among pure devotees, Prabhupada says. So that's why this right conception of Supreme Lord is very important. So in 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada as well as the Acharyas say that to practice pure devotional service, this knowledge is necessary of the 9th and 10th chapter of Gita. And what comes there is the Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva of the Supreme Lord comes in 9th chapter, right? Isn't it? 9th chapter, point 9.4 to 10, if you see, the Achintya Bhed Abhed Tattva of Lord with the material world is explained. So there it is very clearly said that this knowledge is essential to practice Ananya Bhakti. Because Ananya Bhakti is practiced when there is no Anya, right? So there is no other sadhana mixture, there is no other sadhya mixture, and there is no other aradhya mixture. The object of worship is clear, the process is clear, and the goal is clear. So there is no mixture in any of the three, right? So that is what is told. Even if you say, I think 1.5.20, if you see, Narada Muni is being advising Vedvyas. Idam hi Vishwam Bhagavan Ivetaro, etc. So that verse, why he is telling that, okay, my dear Vedvyas, that this world is non-different than the Lord as well as Lord. So I will not explain this much detail. Pradesha Matram. I will tell you the indication, you expand it. So there it is told that after having described pure devotion, now knowledge required for practicing pure devotion is told by Narada. And Narada is telling you, describe this in entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. The material world and Lord are non-different as well as different. So this is one of the important aspect of practice of pure devotion, which is also given in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9. So there also, Prabhupada also mentions, I think, let us see this, 9.3, yeah. Here are, yeah. Okay. Just opening 9.1 verse. So this is 9.1 purport of Prabhupada. I am going to see. As a devotee hears and more about the Supreme Lord, he becomes enlightened. And then he emphasizes hearing and all. Especially this 9th chapter, how it is most confidential knowledge. Yes. So you can see. Yeah, please read this.
The 9th chapter begins to speak about the powers of the Lord required as knowledge in order to perform the pure bhakti, Kevala Bhakti. The Gita is the essence of all scriptures, and the essence of the Gita is the middle 6 chapters. The middle of those 6 chapters, the 9th and 10th chapter, is the further essence of the 6 chapters.
Yeah. So why I am showing you this is that the right conception of process also is required to practice the process. But that does not mean that on first day it is required. One can receive that by mercy of a pure devotee also. But having said that, Lord has spoken also, na? Right? So we need to grasp this knowledge about the Supreme Lord, which is part of bhakti only by Shravanam process. That's what is the the subject matter here, right? 9.1, he is telling, I will tell you, my Lord, my dear Arjuna, I will reveal to you my Aishwarya. And that is needed to practice pure devotional service or Kevala Bhakti. So one of the important aspect of that is 4.10, sorry, 9.4 to 10. That is Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva of the Supreme Lord. I am there, I am not there, everything is in me, etc. All these verses are there. You must have heard, right? So that is what is told here. So it is necessary. And what is Bhagavatam is only, Bhagavad Gita has all the processes. But Bhagavatam is only about Kevala Bhakti, the entire Bhagavatam. Like we say that Bhagavatam begins when Bhagavad Gita ends, right? Dharma projita kaitavatar param. So the knowledge of Bhagavatam is also bhakti. It is not that someone is studying Bhagavatam. You say, okay, this is all jnani. Na? It's not like that. It is necessary. And it should be done under blessings. We should cultivate this knowledge of Bhagavatam, because that will help us to practice pure devotional service in a purer and purer way. That's why here even Atri Muni apparently is not clear about who is the Supreme Lord, what is his name. So he's just addressing Jagadishwar. So Jagadishwar is such a, it is the Gaun Naam of the Supreme Lord, right? So it doesn't give, can you, imagine you are going to give a program and your introduction is given initially that he is a very wonderful human being. So it's like that, calling the Supreme Lord as Jagadishwar. Just. So that is just a Paramatma aspect of the Lord. It is not even Bhagwan. Bhagwan aspect means he is doing pastimes in spiritual world. So that's why Prabhupada is saying they're not calling name. Na? He is saying. Where it is saying here? Without knowing his name. He is just calling Gaun Naam, Jagadishwar, Parameshwar, please come. So 3 come. Like that. So that's why it's very important to have right conception of the Supreme Lord. So Atri Muni story is teaching us that. And by that, we can properly practice pure devotional service. So that's what is the case. So going further, read the 21st verse.
While Atri Muni was engaged in these severe austerities, a blazing fire came out of his head by virtue of his breathing exercise, and that fire was seen by the 3 principal deities of the 3 worlds.
Yeah. So you see, now because of his austerity, what happened? Fire started coming. So Srila Jiva Goswami is saying here. First, sitting, he performed pranayam. Then he stood up on one leg to do special worship while thinking of boon. So his whole goal is to get some boon, special worship also. When the Lord did not appear, in lamentation, he sat again and used pranayama to produce the fire, to burn up his body. When he started to burn up, they suddenly appeared before him, giving him faith. They appeared externally. After they appeared in his mind, he stood up. So because he was meditating internally. So they appeared within and then they appeared without. So this is how he is giving all these steps. So his purpose is to do special worship to get boon from them. That's why he is doing. So that's how this commentary only is written by Srila Jiva Goswami. Yeah, breathing exercise, Prabhupada is saying. He's concentrating on super soul. So through super soul, he saw others. So because they are expansions of that. Vasudeva. Yeah, read the 22nd.
At that time, the 3 deities approached the hermitage of Atri Muni, accompanied by the denizens of the heavenly planets, such as the celestial beauties, the Gandharvas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, and the Nagas. Thus they entered the ashrama of the great sage who had become famous by his austerities.
Yeah. So he became famous also by his austerities. Yeah. So not only the 3 lords appeared, but they appeared along with all the others. Yeah, please read. The sage
The,
was.
the sages was standing on one leg, but as soon as he saw that the three deities had appeared before him, he was so pleased that to see them all together that despite great difficulty, he approached them on one leg.
Trying to give respect to them. And then he did Dandavat. Yeah, read ahead.
Thereafter, he began to offer prayers to the three deities who were seated on different carriers, a bull, a swan, and Karuna, and who held in their hands a drum, kusha grass, and a disc, discus.
Discuss.
discus. The sage offered them these respects by falling down like a stick.
Yeah. So here is there is one photo in your book also it might be there. So this is how darshan is. In this book, if you have book, it is there. Satri Muni is still on one leg and all these three demigods have appeared. So he could recognize them. So that's what Prabhupada writes in purport that who are who. So he could recognize. He were knowing, but he were not knowing who is supreme among them. So we saw in this Balaji drama also there is lot of confusion about who is the supreme lord, right? And outside world also. So they know these three deities, but who is the supreme? That is not clear. So Atri Rishi recognized them by their symbolic representation and different carriers, and thus he offered them prayers and respects. Yeah, please read ahead.
Atri Muni was greatly pleased to see that the three devas were gracious towards him. His eyes were dazzled by the effulgence of their bodies, and therefore he closed his eyes for the time being.
Yeah, so much effulgence was there that he could not tolerate. So he closed his eyes. So now he is going to start praying. So 26, 27 verse 27 and 28 is his prayers. Yeah, please read the translation.
But since his heart was already attracted by the deities, somehow or other he gathered his senses, and with folded hands and sweet words, he began to offer prayers to the predominating deities of the universe. The great sage Atri said, O Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, you have divided yourself into three bodies by accepting three modes of material nature, as you do in every millennium for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of cosmic manifestation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all of you and beg to inquire whom of you three I have called by my prayer.
So he knows, see, he knows who is doing what also, but he is not clear about who is the supreme. That is the. So he is very honestly saying, I beg to inquire from you, three, whom I have called, who is the one. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says clearly that it is ignorance to call even Vishnu as being affected by modes. Right? So he's saying by accepting the three modes of material nature. So this acceptance is done by Shiva and Brahma. But Vishnu doesn't accept. Vishnu controls the sattva gun by proximity. Accepting means what? He's touching the matter. So Vishnu doesn't touch at all. Vishnu controls the material world and he controls the sattva guna. He nourishes and everything. But that is all happening by sanidhya, not sparsha. Sanidhya means what? Proximity. So he never touches matter. Whereas Brahma and Shiva touch matter. So this was his ignorance. He was knowing to certain extent that their functions and they are coming as three modes, controller, etc. But he was in one sense ignorant about Lord Vishnu's transcendental position. So that's why actually the three are appeared. Yeah. So Prabhupada also writes that. Yeah. Please read this too. Transcendental aspect of the Lord, he writes.
Therefore, the Supreme Lord, the creator of the universe, must be transcendental to the material modes of nature. But it is known that Vishnu takes charge of the mode of goodness, Brahma takes charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva takes charge of the mode of ignorance. Atri Rishi, in fact, Atri Rishi was doubtful about the constitutional position of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, but he was quite certain that the Lord of the universe cannot be one of the creatures created by Maya. His very inquiry about whom he had called indicates that he was in doubt about the constitutional position of the Lord.
Yeah. So that's why he's unclear about it. One thing is knowing our constitutional nature, and other thing is to know constitutional position of the Lord as well. So that's why Prabhupada in 18.55 also 18.65 writes that one should not even divert his attention to other avatars like Narsimha, etc. Ramachandra. One should focus on Sham Sundar Krishna. So to have that focus, we need to understand right position of Swayam Bhagavan. That's why Bhagavatam is spoken. The Ashraya Tattva is the Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, which is spoken in 1.3.28, which is the verse. You know, what is Ete Chamsa Kalapungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. So, it's very essential to understand properly the right conception of Swayam Bhagavan which we are trying to worship. Otherwise, we may think that, okay, everything is good. So externally to attract people to say that is one thing. But having that understanding is other thing, that okay, all festivals come, we worship everyone with the same feeling and same everything. No, that is not the case. One has to be Ananya Bhakti means what? That only. Ananya. There is no other mixture in that worship. So that's why it's very important to actually understand the proper constitutional position of the law to become more focused in the practice, because according to practice one gets the result. So this Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita purport. So Bhagavad Gita 8, here only I have written or where? 8 point. Okay, I think it is ahead. Bhagavad Gita 8.14. One can chant Hare Krishna, but still one can go to other destination. Chanting is what? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. But according to conception, he will get the destination. Prabhupada says that in 8.14, I think. Let me see here. I'll open it here. Comes. We feel that okay, chant Hare Krishna, but our conception has to also be very clear. Chapter. He tells what is the mode of chanting, then conception also he speaks. Here, yeah, please read this. So here it is about Om. Om is how Om is representing Krishna. That is what is this verse is. Speaking about Yoga Mishra Bhakti, but Prabhupada writing Hare Krishna is non-different than that. But read this part.
Chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is clearly recommended for this age. So if one quits his body at the end of life, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, he certainly reaches one of the spiritual planets according to the mode of his practice. The devotees of Krishna enter the Krishna planet, Golok Vrindavan. For the personalists, there are also innumerable other planets known as Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, whereas the impersonalists remain in the Brahmajyoti.
Yeah. So here it's very clearly said that according to the mode of practice, means what is the conception, what is the aspiration, and what is the practice, one will attain certain spiritual planet. Although he might be chanting Hare Krishna, right? So it's very clearly given. So conception is very important of our practice. So Atri Muni here did not have that. So Pro Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur saying, this is a statement made out of ignorance concerning the position of Vishnu, since it is impossible for Supreme Lord to have a body of material sattva. Who among you did I call by my sadhana? He had indicated one person when he said, I surrender, no? Sharanam, universe. Among you, who is the Lord of universe? By your mercy, you should say. So he is asking them. That is the mood. And then he's saying the next verse. Yeah, please read the translation. I called for
the Supreme Personality of Godhead, desiring a son like him, and I thought of him only. But although he is far beyond the mental speculation of man, all three of you have come here. Kindly let me know how you have come, for I am greatly bewildered about this.
Yeah. So he gets bewildered. So Shiljiv Goswami write that I did not worship you three. I fixed my mind on one, endowed with special power, concentrating on him. And why is concentrating? He's saying he would fulfill my desire. So I called for one only. Why three of you have come? I am greatly humbled. You came from far away, beyond the mind. Like that. So that's what is being said. So his more focus is that one person who will fulfill his desire. So like that. So he's getting bewildered, he's saying. So yeah, Maitreya replied. Yeah. Now keep on reading ahead. No, nothing
The
much.
great sage Maitra continued. Upon hearing Atri Muni speak in that way, the three great deities smiled, and they replied in the following sweet words.
Yeah. So now Lord, all three are speaking. Yeah? Interestingly. Yeah, read the translation.
The three deities told Atri Muni, Dear Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination, and therefore, as you have decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating, and therefore we have all come to you.
Yeah. So all three are saying that you have not clearly mentioned. Jagadishwara can refer to creator, maintainer, destroyer, all three. That's what Prabhupada also explains in his purport. Jagadishwar can mean any of the three, or some others also, he says. So that's why we are fulfilling your desire, dear Brahmana, because Satya Sankalpana, no, Sat Sankalpasya. So we have all come to you and we will fulfill your desire. Yeah, read this is Vishwanath. Read.
You desired that you should have one son equal to the Lord of the universe. Having a doubt as to who was the Lord of the universe, you meditated on all three of us and then decided on one form, thinking, among the three, let the real Lord come. The three of us, having three powers in the universe, have come here. Though we are in three forms, we are one.
Yeah, so we are one only actually. You are thinking we are three, but we are one. From such a desire and to show the strength of your sadhana, you will get a result according to your sadhana and according to your desire. Right? So his desire was what? Accordingly, he will get. He wanted a son like Lord. So three he will get and he will be famous. Like that. So his desire is fulfilled by the Lords. So Prabhupada gives, there can be, all these people can be Lords of the universe. Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, and then Brahma and Shiva. They can be all Lords of universe. but which one is not clearly mentioned. So same thing Prabhupada says. Atri Muni unspecifically thought of the personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, although he had no clear idea of Lord of the universe, nor his specific form, nor name, nor form. So what is use? Personality means name, form, and pastimes, right? So nothing was aware, not clear to him. His main focus was he wanted a boon. So that's how all three appeared. Therefore, since Atri Muni did not specifically mention whom he wanted, all three came before him. In other words, one's determination is fulfilled according to strength of one's devotion. So, what are our aspirations will be fulfilled by strength of devotion. Atri Muni had no clear conception of God, of the universe. So that's why it's very important, as we discussed earlier also, to have a right conception of God. So this is very specifically given in, I think, 8. I think this I showed you already, right? 8.13 purport I showed you. That according to the mode of practice, one will attain the destination. Right? Yeah, go ahead. Read 31st translation.
You will have sons who will represent a partial manifestation of our potency. And because we desire all good fortune for you, those sons will glorify your reputation throughout the world.
So actually, Jiv Goswami says that you said Jagdishwar only. You did not even say Bhagwan. Because Bhagwan means what? One who possesses all six
Opulence.
opulences. So you did not say this was Bhagwan, full in 6 powers. Nor did you specify that it was the Purusha who has power to create the world. You worship merely indicated some amsha of secondary creation for fulfilling your desire. So his main focus was what? Fulfilling his desires. That's why he used particular name Jagdishwar. Like that. So it is not very specific name. That's how Prabhupada told. It can be any of the 3 Vishnus, Purushas also. Bhagavan also like that. Yeah, 32.
Thus, while the couple looked on, the 3 deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, disappeared from that place after bestowing upon Atri Muni the benediction.
Yeah. So that's how. Which are these 3? Are explained. Read.
Thereafter, from the partial representation of Brahma, the moon god was born of them. From the partial representation of Vishnu, the great mystic Dattatreya was born. And from the partial representation of Shankar, Lord Shiva, Durvasa was born. Now you may hear from me of the many sons of Angira.
Yeah. So now the episode is over. Now again go back to the daughters of Devahuti. Right. So now the list is there again till 47th verse. So please read other Shraddha. Yeah, please read. Angira's wife.
Angira's wife Shraddha gave birth to 4 daughters named
Shinivali.
Shinwali, Kuha, Raka, and Anumati.
Yeah. Continue. Besides this,
Beside these 4 daughters, she also has another 2 sons. One of them known as a Uttataya, directly the Lord, and the other was the knower of the Brahman, Brahaspati.
yeah, Uttathya. Uttathya is the name. Yeah. 36. Pulatsya begot.
Pulatsya begot in his wife
Havirbhu.
Havirbhu, one son of the name Agastya, who in his next birth became Dahagragni. Besides him, Pulastya begot another very great and saintly son, whose name was Vishrava.
So who is father of Ravana? Same Vishrava this is. Yeah.
Vishrava had 2 wives. The first wife was Idavida, from whom Kuvera, the master of all yakshas, was born, and the next wife was named Kesini, from whom 3 sons were born, Ramana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishana.
Yeah. 38.
Gati, the wife of the sage Pulaha, gave birth to 3 sons, named Karma Shrestha, Varyan, and Sahishnu. And all of them were great sages.
Yeah, so Pulaha ashram where our Bharat Maharaj went, same Rishi's ashram. Yeah, read ahead. Kratu's wife.
Kratu's wife, Kriya, gave birth to 60,000 great sages, named the
Valkhilya.
Valkhyas.
Valkhilyas.
Valkhyas. All these sages were greatly advanced in spiritual knowledge, and their bodies were illuminated by such knowledge.
Yeah.
The great sage Vasishta begot in his wife Urja, sometimes called Arundhati, 7 spotlessly great sages, headed by the sage named Chitraketu.
Yeah, so this is Saptarshi you see, na? There is Vasishta and Arundhati. Yeah, who are the 7? Yeah.
The names of these 7 sages are as follows: Chitraketu, Surochi, Viraja, Mitra, Ulbana, Vashu, Bhayadra, and Dyuman. Some other very competent sons were born from Vasishta's other wife.
Yeah.
Chitti, wife of the sage Atharva, gave birth to a son named Asva
Shira.
Shira by accepting a great vow called Dadyana.
Dadhancha.
Dadyancha.
This is our, this. Dadhancha is this Rishi, na, who gave his bone?
Dadichi.
Dadichi, same person.
Now you may hear from me about the descendants of the sage Bhrigu.
43.
The sage Bhrigu was highly fortunate. In his wife, known as Khyati, he begot 2 sons named Dhata and Vidhata, and 1 daughter named Shri, who was very much devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. 44.
The sage Meru had 2 daughters named Ayati and Niyati, whom he gave in charity to Dhata and Vidhata. Ayati and Niyati gave birth to 2 sons, Mrikanda and Prana.
So Mrukanda's son is Markandeya Rishi. Yeah. That is next verse. Yeah. Read translation.
From Mrikanda, Markandeya Muni was born, and from Prana, the sage Vedashira, whose son was Ushana Shukracharya, also known as Kavi. Thus, Kavi also belonged to the descendants of the Bhrigu dynasty.
Yeah. So Bali Maharaj had pleased, the descendants of Bhrigu, including Shukracharya. He got a lot of power from that. Yeah. Now this is Phalashruti. Read.
My dear Vidura, the population of the universe was thus increased by the descendants of these sages and the daughters of Kardama. Anyone who hears the description of this dynasty with faith will be relieved from all sinful reactions. Another of Manu's daughters, known as Prasuti, married the son of Brahma named Daksha.
Yeah. So now Devhuti's descendants are over. First Akuti, Devhuti, now Prasuti thing will be told now onwards. Having told a genealogical line of Prasuti and Daksha. So 48 onwards till end of the chapter. Yes, continue.
Daksha begot 16 very beautiful daughters with lotus-like eyes in his wife Prasuti. Of these 16 daughters, 13 were given in marriage to Dharma, and 1 daughter was given to Agni.
Yeah. So about of 16, 13 are given to Dharma, 1 is given to Agni. So how many are remaining more? 2 more. So 1 to the Pitras and 1 to the Shiva. Yeah, please read this. Their names and their sons are mentioned now.
One of the remaining 2 daughters was given in charity to Pitraloka, where she resides very amicably, and the other was given to Lord Shiva, who is the deliverer of the sinful persons from material entanglement. The names of the 13 daughters of Daksha who were given to Dharma are Shraddha, Maitri, Daya, Shanti, Tushti, Pushti, Kriya, Unnati, Buddhi, Medha, Titiksha, Ri, and Murti. These 13 daughters produced the following sons. Shraddha gave birth to Shubh. Maitri produced Prasad. Daya gave birth to Abhay. Shanti gave birth to Shukha. Tushti gave birth to Muda.
Muda,
Pushti,
Muda,
Muda,
Sukha, Muda. Muda is Ananda.
Muda. Pushti gave birth to Smaya. Kriya gave birth to Yoga. Unnati gave birth to Darpa. Buddhi gave birth to Artha. Medha gave birth to Smriti. Tiksha gave birth to Kshema. And Dhri gave birth to Prashraya. Murti, a reservoir of all respectable qualities, gave birth to Sri Naranarayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So it is mentioned that these are all good qualities. The names are also referring by the original meaning of the words. The daughters starting with Shraddha are the presiding deities of various Shaktis of Sattva Gur. Because these are qualities, right? Tushti, Pushti, and all this, right? So they are presiding deities of various Shaktis of Sattva Gur. These daughters had corresponding qualities. So, like if you see that there is connection. So Titiksha gave birth to whom? Titiksha is where? Where it is? Shema. Yeah, down here. So like that they are connected. Tushti gave to Muda. So these are presiding deities of qualities which are there in Sattva Gur, right? And they are giving only thing you may see that there is Smaya and Darpa which appear to be negative qualities, right? Smaya is generally heard as pride, and Darpa is on another form of pride. But no, this positive meaning has to be taken. So positive meaning is given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur for this also. So Smaya doesn't means pride, which no Gopi Gita also it comes, no? By your smile, you destroy the pride of the devotees. Vraja Janartihan Veera Yoshita Nija Jana Smaya Dhvamsitaha, like that is there. So that Smaya is negative. This Smaya is not that. So meaning is given here. I think in the next purport it is given. Yeah. Here it is given. See here. Smaya means enthusiastic to perform acts of dharma. So it is not general meaning like pride. And Darpa is also Dambo, Darpa, Abhimanascha. These are all demoniac qualities. But this Darpa is not that. This Darpa is expert in austerity and yoga. So this another meaning is for sinful people. They produced sinful people, like that is told. So now here Nar Narayan Rishi is appearing as Murti's son. So now appearance of Nar Narayan Rishi, how demigods are offering prayers, that is described. From 53 to 59, the section of Nar Narayan Rishi is there. Because they are Supreme Lord and his. So Arjuna and Krishna are appearing like this. Yes, please read 50. Translation.
On the occasion of the appearance of Narnarayan, the entire world was full of joy. Everyone's mind became tranquil. And thus, in all directions, the air, the rivers, and the mountains became pleasant.
Yeah. Read ahead.
In the heavenly planets, bands began to play, and they showered flowers from the sky. The pacified sages chanted Vedic prayers. The denizens of heaven, known as Gandharvas and Kinnaras, sang. The beautiful damsels of the heavenly planets danced. And in this way, at the time of the appearance of Naranarayan, all signs of good fortune were visible. Just at that time, great demigods like Brahma also offered their respectful prayers.
Yeah. So they also appeared and they offered prayers. So they are explained in the next two verses. Deva uchuhu yo mayaya virachitam nijayatmanidam kherupa bhedamima tat pratichakshanaya etena dharma sadane rishimurtinadya pradushchakara purushaya namah parasmai. Yeah, read translate.
The demigods said, "Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the transcendental personality of Godhead, who created as his external energy this cosmic manifestation, which is situated in him as the air and clouds are situated in space, and who has now appeared in the form of Naranarayan Rishi in the house of Dharma."
Yeah. So here, if you see, purport is written particular principle here. Khe Rupa Bhedamiva. This word is explained in the purport by Prabhupada and the Acharyas. Why? Because earlier also we discussed that Lord is involved in material creation as well as he is different from material creation. So that similar principle is told here in terms of varieties. So Prabhupada elaborately writes about how the material varieties are coming from spiritual variety. So that is true and this is temporary. That's what is the subject matter of purport. So he starts with universal form of the Lord is the cosmic manifestation, which is an exhibition of external energy of the Supreme Lord. Right? So here what is example given? The clouds in the space, right? So actually the same analogy is there. So this universal form or matter is connected with the Supreme Lord, but it is not the Supreme Lord. So the same thing is given in first canto also. So why it is given? Because the Supreme Lord is not visible. Like, can we see air right now? Air is moving like that fan is on. Can we see the air which is touching our Prabhu? Rukmini Vallabh Prabhu? No, we can't see. Not Rukmini Vallabh Prabhu. Yes, what is Prabhu's name? Janaki Vallabh Prabhu. Rukmini Vallabh Prabhu and Janaki Vallabh Prabhu. We have two Vallabh here. So Rajat Prabhu or both of them. Air is touching them, but are you able to see it? No. But if I put some gulal in that, then what will happen? You will able to see the movement of air. Right? Or here example is given is, can you see ether or sky? Yes. But when clouds are there, we can say that there are clouds in the sky. So same analogy is given here, that the Supreme Lord cannot be seen, and those who are faithless, they have to be shown some material thing to make them believe on something which is not visible to them, and they have lack of faith. That's why the universal form. It is external energy of Lord, but it is resting on the Supreme Lord. Like that. So that's what is told here. There are some philosophers called non-dualist who, because of their impersonal conception, think that varieties are false. So now we are talking about material varieties of this world. So they say that, oh, दूध का जला छाग भी फूक फूक के पीता है, वैसा ही है. So they are frustrated with material variety. So they want to say that we don't want any variety. Even in spiritual world also, we don't want variety. So Prabhupada punches them here in his purport. In this verse, it is specifically stated, Yo Mayaya Virachitam. This indicates that the varieties are manifestation of the energy of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the energy is non-different from the Godhead. The varieties are also factual. The material varieties may be temporary, but they are not false. They are a reflection of spiritual variety. That's how this word pratichakshanaya is used. There are varieties. Announces the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared as Nar Narayan Rishi, who is the origin of all varieties of the material nature. So that's how the devotee's vision is. When he sees varieties of this material world, he is able to see the reflection in it. One thing is to just avoid, one thing is to perceive it properly. Because can we just keep on avoiding it? Like Rishi Shunga also avoiding things. No. When it was revealed to him, then the effect happened. So we need to see the world in a proper perspective. Material world, we cannot run away from matter, but we have to perceive matter with proper perspective in connection with the Supreme Law. And what is the ideal way? As a perverted reflection of spiritual variety. So anything good you experience, taste, touch, that has to connect to the Supreme Law. That is the way devotee sees. That is the way 10th, 11th, 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita are telling. Right? That is the Bhakti section of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna is asking that, please tell me how I can remember you here. So the whole purpose is to see the reflection. So Bhagavad Gita is telling specific things, essence of everything, best of everything, source of everything. But Bhagavatam is telling further that everything which is there in this world is reflection of spiritual. Hmm? So just like that example you hear, no, that some person was trying to get some necklace which was visible in water, right? Then the sage came and he told, wait, I will give you. Hmm? And then he says that you see up, it is there. He was going in water only. So similarly, it will be attractive, like Prabhupada is saying here, but they are temporary. But we have to point it to, okay, it is reflected. So any relationship pleasure, any object pleasure, it's all connected to the spiritual variety. Everything. Anything you experience in relationship as well as the experience of matter, things and persons. Even the Vatsalya ras between so-called mother and father of this world, not mother, father, mother and son. The original is there in the spiritual world. The same is the case with all others. So that's why we have to see that variety. Then the dhayato vishayan pungsa won't happen. There only we break it, right? The object is there, but do we see it as a reflection? Then we can connect to Krishna immediately. But if that is not connected, then the formula happens. Dhayato vishayan pungsa sangasteshu upajayate, etc. So that's why this material world has to be seen in connection with Krishna. That's why there is so much description 5 times in first few chapters that try to see the Srushti in connection with Krishna. What you experience, what you feel, what you see, what you eat, what you touch, everything has connection with Krishna. And it is reflection. So what to speak of no experiences also. All experiences also are reflections. Like that. So there is Swargiya Ras, no? There are 3 kinds of pleasure explained. No? So what is Jad? What is the title? Swargiya Ras, and then there is transcendental pleasure, and one more is there. No, what is that? Jada, Jadanand, and then Swargiya Ras and transcendental pleasure. So transcendental pleasure is on spiritual platform, but these two are like if someone is dutiful in this material world in relationships, so they can experience the reflection of this the 5 rasas of spiritual world. If one is dutiful in relationship in this world, like husband wife for example, if they are dutiful, then they can experience the reflection of the original here in this material. So it can be madhurya ras pervertedly reflected. It can be vatsalya ras. When there is dutiful, there is a emotional pleasure which is very high than the gross pleasure of touching, right? In same way, friendship, people also experience friendship because it is pervertedly reflected. But so that is the 5 rasas. But the secondary rasas reflected means it doesn't give pleasure for a long time. Right? The 7 other things. So that is so it's all everything is pervertedly reflected. The 3 energies. So everything has connection with the spiritual variety. So more we point out there, more we can perceive properly the matter of this. So that's how these devas are praying. So they are aware, Brahma and other demigods. It is all coming from you. And this same Nar Narayan Rishi, the Indra tries to distract out of fear. And he sends lot of apsaras. So what Nar Narayan Rishi do? They receive them respectfully. They gave them very nice hospitality as well. हम बहुत अच्छे से उनको hospitality देते हैं. And later on, the apsaras became very shameful actually that we came here to distract. So then Narayan Rishi give a gift of Urvashi, and that is the time actually the apsaras pray that attraction, their attraction also is towards the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord replies that you will able to reciprocate in next incarnation. So this pastime happened there in Badrika Ashram. So there, the deities are there actually. Some of you might have gone to Badrinath. So there, this is there. This pastime has happened there. So further they are praying. Please read the translation.
Let that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is understood by truly authorized Vedic literature and who has created peace and prosperity to destroy all calamities of the created world, be kind enough to bestow his glance upon the demigods. His merciful glance can supersede the beauty of the spotless lotus flower, which is the home of the goddess of fortune.
Yeah. So his further power is told that you destroy all the calamities and bestow this thing. Yeah. So these are the prayer. Then what? 58.
Maitreya said, O Vidura, thus the demigods worship with prayers the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as the sage Narayan. The Lord glanced upon them with mercy and then departed for Gandha Madana hill.
Yeah. So Lord left.
That Narayan Rishi, who is the partial expansion of Krishna, has now appeared in the dynasties of Yadu and Kuru in the forms of Krishna and Arjuna, respectively, to mitigate the burden of the world.
Yeah. So who is telling this to whom? Maitreya Muni is telling. Now means what? Maitreya just met Krishna and come, no? From Prabhash. So like that he is telling. They have appeared as Krishna and Arjuna to mitigate the burden of world. So they are original and Nar Narayan Rishi are expansions. So that's the subject matter of this purport. In other words, Nar Narayan Rishi was now present in the world in form of Krishna and Arjuna. Yeah, read ahead.
The predominating deity of fire begot in his wife Swaha three children named Pavaka, Pavamana, and Suchi, who exist by eating the oblations offered to the fire of sacrifice.
Yeah, so there are different types of fire. That is what is explained. Yeah, read ahead.
From those three sons, another 45 descendants were generated, who are also fire gods. The total number of fire gods is therefore 49, including the fathers and the grandfather.
Yeah, so Agni, Swaha, then three children, and further 45. So these are all 49 types of fire which are there in Yagyas. So you see, initially they do na one fire they put. So there are different kinds of fire. For us, it may appear all same only, but there is a lot of difference in their qualities and effect. Yeah, read.
These 49 fire gods are the beneficiaries of the oblations offered in the Vedic sacrificial fire by impersonalist Brahmanas.
Yeah. The Agni Sattvas.
The Agni Sattvas, the Barhishats, the Saumyas, and the Ajyapas are the Pitas. They are either Sagnika or Nirangika.
Niragnika.
The wife of all these Pitas is Swadha, who is the daughter of King Daksha.
Yeah.
Swadha, who was offered to the Pitas, begot two daughters named Vayuna and Dharini, both of whom were impersonalist and were expert in transcendental and Vedic knowledge.
Daughters were impersonalist.
The 16th daughter, whose name was Sati, was the wife of Lord Shiva. She could not produce a child, although she always faithfully engaged in the service of her husband.
Yeah.
The reason is that Sati's father Daksha used to rebuke Lord Shiva in spite of Shiva's faultlessness. Consequently, before attaining a mature age, Sati gave up her body by dint of yogic mystic power.
Yeah. So this verse brings to the question. I think that will come in the next chapter. So this is very shocking for Vidura to hear. So he immediately asked question. So Prabhupada saying, therefore, whenever she met her father, he unnecessarily criticized her husband, although Lord Shiva was faultless. Because of this, Before attaining the mature stage, Sati gave up her body given by her father, Daksha, and therefore she could not produce a child. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of 4th canto, 1st chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Genealogical Table of the
Daughters of Man.
So tomorrow we'll continue the second part, chapter. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we end here officially. If anyone has anything to ask personally, they can ask. In case you have any comments, questions, correction.